Survivor Now podcast.
I was busy on the beach, like I was on Survivor.
I don't believe anything you say on Survivor. I almost called it.
It's now time.
I'm so excited.
Oh no!
I do love you, but bye.
Oh, it's so wrong.
I gotta go. I got something to do. Not as exciting as this. I'll tell you that right now, but.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Got Something For You. This will be episode 3 of season 49. As always, I am joined by the man to the far right, Mr. Ali. How are you doing?
Hold on, I'm not far right, just saying, but if you know what I mean by that. I'm doing well. Take your moment.
That's good. I was like, wait, you're definitely on the right side for me. But yes, far right only in position. And here in the middle, our moderate, if you will, Josh Wilder. How you doing, Josh?
Phil, what's going on? I'm doing great. Celebrating Pride here in ATL. We do it in October, so it's been a whole weekend of debauchery.
There we go. I love to hear it. And we're going to be getting right into episode 3. Before we jump into the slides and getting into the nitty gritty, I always like to get a sort of overall feeling for the episode. Josh, let's start with you. What did you think about episode 3?
So episode 3 was exhilarating just because, there was a medical thing going on, which, before Survivor, they do kind of give you this whole interesting thing about the animals and the plants, what to stay away from, what is good, what is bad. And so this, I think, is one of the first time in Survivor history where, I really get something that's emergent and concerning. And so the whole time I'm just like, oh my gosh, I hope Jake's going to be okay. So exhilarating, I think, exciting, scary. I have multiple adjectives for that.
Yeah, we're going to be relying quite a bit on you, Josh, when it comes to things like that book. We got our very first peek behind the corner of certain aspects of the show. And, listening around through the week, it sounds like these are things that, while hardly ever spoken about, you must have seen this book before, correct?
Yes, yeah, we're very familiar. We get a crash course on things out there because you're definitely in the wild, you know what I mean? Like there is no granola bar around the corner. You are surviving off of the land. And of the land, there are species there that, you've never really seen before. They haven't really seen us before. So they're just living and vibing, and here we come. And one big thing about it, what they said stay away from were the sea snakes because they're very poisonous. So immediately when I saw that snake, I'm like, poison, stay away, bad, danger.
Yeah, it's unbelievable that this happened, and in a weird way, almost even more unbelievable that this is the first time this has happened, considering all the seasons that we have seen in Fiji since, we sort of got there and planted there for the last, 10 or so seasons. So it is wild that this happened, but we will get into all of it. Ollie, would you please do the honor of pulling up the old slides? There we go. So we are back on Blue, a tribe that we have become very, very familiar with. They are our disaster tribe. They're depleted as ever. It's ironic that Core 4 at once was a majority. Now Core 4 is the entirety of that tribe. What do you think about just losing time and time again and getting to a point where what was once a majority alliance, it's now you have to pick someone to eliminate if you lose again? That must feel weird.
So sad. Losing over and over again, it's just a shock to your system. You know what I mean? Like your morale is everything out there. And if you have low morale, you keep losing, you don't have fire, you don't have a machete, you don't have a pot, you're at the bottom of the barrel, And I forget her name, but you can just tell her whole demeanor was just completely different after they lost that last challenge, and it sucks. It sucks. I feel for them.
That's right. And by the way, I'm on the ball this time. Mojo is back. This is our friend Sophie B. If anyone heard me last week, Lord Jesus, thank you for bearing with me, and Ollie for that matter. We were both a little off our mojo. Thank God we had Scott in to fill it. Okay, Ollie, let's not do this. You were half dying that episode, okay?
I was dying privately.
Ollie, what do you think about all the blue that we're getting and the state that they're in at the start of this episode?
Obviously, it's kind of one of those things where it's like we get to the point of kind of when we have a disaster tribe where it's like, great, we've seen enough of these people. I want to know what's happening elsewhere. I what I did like about this was we kind of we did get some idea of how people's games were wanting to shape it. For a perfect example, Sophie, when she's having this conversation with Jeremiah, it all makes sense why she was trying so hard to get the idol last episode, because she's literally named her 2 number ones in Jeremiah and Jake, and she's like, my perfect thing is Alex going bye-bye. So I'm like, now it makes sense why she was trying so hard to get the idol, and I appreciate the grind and chaos of wanting to take the idol from Alex in that sense. But yeah, you can just see like how depleted they are, and like at this point, we're just feeling sorry for them because they are just in this disaster moment. I would love for there not to be a disaster tribe for once, but there is an entertainment value. So sorry, it is funny sometimes.
Look, I promised we were going to be getting into Disaster Tribe. I want to wait for our other person on Blue to leave, but that is definitely going to be a topic of today's episode. I mean, it has to be. But before we get there, we will check out Yellow. Jason sporting that fantastic braid given to him by Christina. That was, to me, that was really fun scene when she was like, let me make sure you look good. He looks all right. You're right. You do what you can out there on the island. Yellow gets into conversation about looking for idols. And what we've seen where the idol has landed on Blue, we are for the first time sort of getting to see other tribes talk about the idol. And there definitely seems to be a mentality of, well, look, we all may as well look together, right? Let's pair off and let's figure this out. What do you guys think about that?
No.
I wouldn't. I would want to, but then I wouldn't want to, because obviously you want to see who's where and who's with what. Because in a group setting, you know where everyone's at. You kind of know immediately if someone gets it, who doesn't. But I mean, personally, no. I want to go find it myself. But that's a way. It's a tactic for sure.
I will say how MC went about this, I think, was how I would most likely want to do it. I would not want all of us holding hands, walking around trying to find this together. No. I don't need that. I want like my closest ally. If I have to go with someone, be like, right, go with my closest ally. If I can't go with my closest ally, no one is seeing me find that beware advantage. Like, no. And I will, if I have to tell someone, I will tell that person. Because at first I was kind of always like, do I really want this beware advantage and lose my vote? But the way MC explained it this episode, I was just like, love her. Like, love how she explained it. Like, you can tell that she's got it, not just like the brawn for the game, but the brains for the game. So I'm like, we love this triple threat because she's a beauty as well.
Yeah, and look, just for the folks that have, seen the episode just once on Wednesday, on Wednesday, do you want to remind us sort of MC's mentality about the idol that you loved so much?
Yeah, so obviously she got the beware advantage, and it's when she told Steven, she was like, I'm only telling Steven, which great, don't tell everyone, we'll get to that. But she said, I'm going to tell Steven purely because I need to do this to show him that I trust you. I'm putting my trust in you. And I loved that's how she explained it. Because some people would be like, oh yeah, I just want to tell them. But it makes sense now in this thing of like, I don't have a vote. I currently have no protection. So I'm going to trust in this person that says, hey, I'm in danger here. I want you to trust me that this is going to benefit both of us. So I'm showing you this trust. Now you show me back by keeping me safe. Like that's the vibe I got, which I loved.
I think that's very important in Survivor. You always have to have a number one. Do you know what I mean? So she could have kept it secret, but then it like had a hard time, or could have told everybody and then everyone knows. But I think she did it great.
And she picked a right number one who's not going to go and tell everyone. Hi, Jake.
Yeah, I definitely think that in this sort of pair off, okay, we're going to go in duos and search. MC got lucky being paired with Steven. At the start, I did think that maybe her most ideal ally to be paired with might be Sophie, considering she already went to Sophie and sort of spilled the beans about what Matt was discussing, bringing MC in last, possibly throwing Sophie out first. But her and Steven seem to make a really, really good duo here. I like what Jay said. I think it's a great observation. MC and Steven are clearly the only ones from Mina who are going to go far. Now, I might take some pause with the word only, but I definitely think that these two are going to go far. I think that they are the most developed contestants from Yellow so far.
Yeah,
Agreed.
definitely.
Agreed.
Yeah. But moving on over to Red, we see Sage. And Sage is talking with Jawan about the fact that I think that we are the two on the outs. And just to take a pause here, when you notice that, what do you think that the best course of action is? We will get into what Sage ends up doing, but when you feel like you are clocking that you were on the bottom, what can you what's your best sort of plan after realizing that that might be the case? Josh, let's start with you.
Obviously, the first time you think you're on the bottom is you probably are, but paranoia is real out there. But immediately you go talking to people. You got to figure out where people's heads are without seeming suspicious. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to play that game where you're the victim or whatever, but you got to feel like you're still in the game. So you immediately go talk to people and figure out where their heads are. And I think she started doing that, but yeah.
Ollie?
Yeah. I think she did a really great job at understanding the social dynamics. Like,
Mhm.
I think how she explained it in her confessional, it was like, I know Sage has kind of like come across the first 2 episodes as kind of like the oh yeah, like poop, great, which still love it. But we saw that she isn't just a kooky person. Like, dare I say, I get hints of Carolyn in the
Mhm.
sense of she is kooky. She is not afraid to be her authentic self, but you can see that she is socially aware. She knows, she understands the tribe dynamics, and she's going to do what benefits her, even if maybe the people that she talks to, it doesn't benefit them. But I think socially, she made absolutely perfect reads, and I like from the 3 episodes we've seen, like she's had some of the most spot on reads. So like I give her that credit.
Yeah, and the read of we might be on the bottom is one read. The read to tell Shannon, who then goes on to tell Savannah, maybe not the best decision. I actually really want to get into this. First, I want to pull up some comments over here. We got Jay saying he thinks the best course of action when you think that you're on the bottom is to search for an idol. They already want you out anyways, so get an idol to protect yourself. I think that's pretty smart, and especially to Ollie and Josh's previous point, searching as a group that comes with its own sort of risks, but being able to say, okay, I am not the top dog in this tribe. I need to go do something about it, and I'm going to go look on my own is a really good course of action. Just another little saying here. Jay believes that Sage has Carolyn vibes, and yes, I think that is big because Carolyn also had some great reads. But here we are, Shannon sort of divulging to Savannah that Sage has thrown out her name as someone that she's not sure that she can trust. Now, what I think is interesting about this is, it's not, I don't think it's so cut and dry where it's like you should never bring up someone's name, someone else's name to someone else on your tribe, because the truth is, we saw in the previous episode, this work out really, really well for MC, where she sort of went from one conversation to another and, sort of spilled the beans, put out there that, hey, you're being talked about. And, and it was really, it worked out really well for her. But in this scenario, I think that, Sage trying to make this sort of duo with Shannon completely backfired. How do you know when it's the right time to share your thoughts when it's not?
You don't. That's the thing. We get a great vantage point as a viewer, but when you're out there, you have no idea who's talked to who. And with Sage going to Shannon, I think it was too late. Like she was trying to get, a number one, like MC went to what's name to make a number one, but Shannon is going to Savannah, telling her this information that someone is talking about the shoe. So I think that's securing a relationship. You know what I mean? Like, so this person's coming for you, so that lets Savannah know, okay, so you're in my corner. Or at least I think you're in my corner because you're telling me this. You know what I mean?
Totally.
I completely agree with you, Josh. I feel that, like, when you said, like, when's the best time, I don't think you'll ever know, because you could think it's the best time, and you could think that you've divulged every single bit of information to this person, though they're clearly your number one, but this person could secretly be all the way over here going, hey, just so you know, here's all the info that this person's saying. So I definitely think, I don't think it's, like I said earlier, I don't think Sage made a wrong call in sharing information. I just think it's more so Shannon wanting to put her hands in maybe too many cookie jars. And I think that could come back to bite her. I have this feeling with Shannon where she's going to get a little bit too comfortable and, dare I say, a little bit too cocky. And I feel like we're seeing the start of it here.
That's interesting. I will say, you know, Jay killed it in the comment section over here, and for folks who are watching and not commenting, there was some comments. We love to sort of bring in the audience and see what you all are thinking. Jay over here believes that this scene is showing that Shannon is in the best position on Uli, even more than Savannah, saying everyone keeps speaking positively about her and people trust her. What do y'all think about that? What do y'all think about Shannon as a whole?
Shannon seems like, I mean, a really cool person, you know, vibe, very cool. Like everyone would like her, like you were saying, Ollie. So, I mean, that's a good thing in one way, but not so good in another. If you have too many people liking you, if they go back to each other, then they might vote you out. You can't double dip in everyone. You can't be everyone's number one, you know?
Question, are her vibes fire or cinema? But I digress. I agree with what Jay is saying, that right now Shannon is in possibly one of the best spots of Yuli. I think my question is, can she sustain it? And from what I'm seeing, I don't think she can. I think she's already kind of sitting there being like, and I'm like, oh, I worry. It's not like her. I have nothing against Shannon. I just worry because we've seen it before.
Was that a little bit of the Shantham? Because if Shannon had her anthem as well, it would also be called Shantham. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Hello, Roy Jolly. Hello. Always love to see you in the chat over here. Thanks for making it to the live episode, despite it being a day after we usually tape it. But yeah, I definitely thought that this scene was interesting. I'll give a little bit of my view of Shannon. And it's tough to really play Shannon. I think that Shannon, for me, is maybe one of the most difficult contestants to place, because it feels pretty obvious where a lot of other people are at. Shannon, in a weird way, I thought that they were sort of coaching her. And by coaching her, I mean like literally treating her as they treated Coach, where Coach was, you know, all about, you know, sort of, you know, this prayer and you know, all his crazy stories. He almost seemed a little ridiculous at times with love. I say that with love. You know, I think that I felt a little bit of that with Shannon when she was like, "Oh, let's pray to the crab before we eat it. Let's thank the ocean as we go in. Let's do this yoga." And we see other people on her tribe side-eyeing her. I felt like I was like, is Shannon supposed to be seen as a more sort of ridiculous character? But then that was, you know, juxtaposed with Savannah being like, yeah, I'm not into this, but I feel like Shannon has a cutthroat angle and I want to be aligned with her. And so I was like, oh, okay, well, that caught me by surprise. And I think that there's been a sort of back and forth for me where I have not been able to place whether or not we're supposed to even take her seriously or not.
I think she's working it up too. I feel like Shannon, she's thinking. I do think there's more to it. Maybe she's just giving that vibe to the tribe right now. Like, I'm just like relaxed, cool, keep me under the radar. But there's something interesting about Savannah and Shan. I think they are kind of two opposite spectrums of kind of when the game is. So they could, if they could work together, I think it would work out pretty well.
It's the fact that you referenced her to Coach, because Shannon's not annoying, so that's why I'm getting confused by it.
I mean, look, to each their own. I would be very annoyed by someone making me pray to a crab before we eat it and thank the ocean before going out. I think that
but at least she's doing that and she's not telling you a BS story about the Amazon. So sorry.
But can I be honest? I think I'd be more entertained by the crazy stories. But I think Like, I'm just, it's the Dragon Slayer, and like, look, there's no disrespect here. The truth is, what I think was always interesting about Coach as a contestant, shouts to season 50, very excited to see him back, is that Coach is equal parts ridiculous and capable. We saw Coach come back and really play an awesome game after being out there on Tocantins, and again, being quite ridiculous. And so I'm wondering if we're going to see the same from Shannon, where there are scenes of her sort of acting in a way where there are a lot of people rolling their eyes, and then have her bounce back and actually be a true player. Look, it's not full shade, but I will say, Ollie, I definitely found some of her antics a bit ridiculous. With love. Speaking of ridiculous, this was nuts. I mean, genuinely nuts. We sort of got into it a little bit. This is a highly dangerous snake to be bit by, and somehow, once again, for the first time in Survivor history, we see a contestant be bit by a highly toxic or poisonous snake. I mean, was this as nuts to y'all as it was to me?
There's so many things I want to talk about. First of all, there's no way this snake just randomly came up and he was like, "Oh, it's a snake. It bit me." Do you know what I mean? Like, what were you doing, Jake? Were you trying to eat the snake? Were you trying to get the snake? Because half the time these animals don't want to be around us. You know what I mean? So I feel like Jake was trying to get it, to kill it, to eat it, because you're hungry, right? You will eat anything. He saw it. Maybe he was playing with it too much, and the snake said, "Get away from me," and bit you. Do you know what I mean?
I think he did say at some point that his eyes were closed. And then like when he opened his eyes, like the snake was there. I swear I heard him say that either in the episode or in an exit interview. My brain, that's going to my brain.
That would make more sense.
I'll say this. I mean, Josh, like, to your point, I have heard from, past contestants. I have heard from people in the animal field that have talked about this episode, that this snake, to your point, is like very docile for the most part. Like, yes, it's highly poisonous, but like a lot of times it will leave humans alone unless provoked. And so there is a question where it's like, was he doing anything crazy? But at the end of the day, like, freak accidents happen. And I do believe that this was one of those just absolute freak accidents. It was wild to just, and it's so crazy. Like, from the first teaser of this episode, I thought that this was a red herring. I was like, there's no way that this is real. Like the micro, next time on Survivor, what they gave us, I was like, this has to be a red herring. This can't be real. And then they gave a sort of longer teaser through the week where you see a stretcher. You see them ask questions. Is he breathing? And I was like, okay, wait. If someone is on a stretcher, they are going home. I have never seen a contestant be on a stretcher and sort of be able to hop back off and go right back in the game. It was very clear that they were not on the island. But even so, in my head, I just could not believe that they would give us this much if he was actually going home. I honestly didn't believe it. But next thing you know, we are here. We are on, the sort of, main production island. We are off the tribe island. We are getting super BTS that, BTS that we have never seen before. And things are pretty scary and dire. Was this as wild to y'all as it was to me?
I'm not surprised at all. I mean, with that snake, I mean, they like really hit home about the poisonous vegetation and animals to stay away from. This was like top of the list. So I'm not surprised at all they took him home. I mean, and it was safety. You can't play around with that, because if a little bit of venom got in, then he needs to go. You know what I mean? Being a foot and ankle surgeon, I've seen bites, not like this specifically, but like black widow bites, and immediately admit to the hospital, get antibiotics and get them fluids, get the antidote, you have to drain it and get the venom out. Do you know what I mean? And leave it open. And you can't do that out there. There's no real surgeon or medicine to kind of really do this. So I think this is the best bet. This makes sense.
And I forgot that you were a foot and ankle surgeon. I mean, Josh, this is a really, really maybe a perfect episode for you to come here on. Let me ask you
Yeah.
this. I mean, it's my understanding that there are certain parts of the foot where your skin is a whole lot thinner than maybe the torso or the upper half of your body. Does that pose like an extra sort an additional threat to something like a snake bite?
So it actually helps because on our palms and our soles of our feet, we have an extra layer of skin that's like 4 layers thick. So it's very thick. I don't know where exactly it bit him, but to contrast that, right beside it on the side of your foot is the thinnest area. So if it bit there, then that can instantly get into your bloodstream. Thank goodness it was your foot because very far from your heart. So it takes that much longer to kind of get that venom up there if you did. But I mean, good call for the medics. Like, get him out, get him some fluids, get some antibiotics, get him the antidote, even though it may have been a dry bite, still give it to him. Do you know what I mean? And get him back home. He has a kid coming, it's not worth it.
Yeah, I definitely think like in this entire scene, like you give like everyone should give like the medical team credit, like because they did their job well, and you could see that they were like, we don't care what is happening with this TV show, we don't care what the entertainment is. Jeff Probst, do your confessional outside of this room. Like how they were doing it, I was very proud of them. Because I did see like people online, and this is where I'm gonna my first rant of toxic fandom of the season. Because I saw like I think it was Sam from 47 had like posted saying like this is one of the scariest moments, and people kind of making light of it, and I was kind of like, you ignorant pricks, and that's the nicest term I'm going to use it because I'm like, this like had it not been a dry bite, like we could have seen a very different situation. Like this would have been like the second time in any franchise that someone has died. So like I understand we've seen scarier situations. Yes, there was like lions in Africa, but this was still a serious situation. And I think if you make light of it in the context, like if Jake can, that's fine. But if like other people are, I'm going to be like, you're ignorant. So yeah, just full credit to like the medics and stop being toxic fans.
Hey, and you know what, Ollie? Just to piggyback on that, I fully agree, and I do think that look for a second there, I did have a thought where I was like, look, they're saying it's a dry bite, like why would they not let him back in the game? He looks all right, but then I remembered even myself, I do have kidney issues. I've had a surgery before, and I'll never forget this one time where they sort of let me go pretty early, pretty quickly. Do you want to do your thing now?
No, you go.
Yeah, but it's they sort of they dispatched me. They let me sort of go home, because it wasn't the first kidney surgery I had, so I got to go home and I was by myself. That said, I simply got up too fast that same night, and I fully blacked out, and I fell on the ground, and I came back to consciousness. I didn't know what to do. I had to call, an ambulance, had to drive me back to the hospital. It was nuts. And I remember thinking at that point, I was like, man, like, if I had just stayed in the hospital, none of this would have ever happened. And at the end of the day, like, I was fine to be, at home. The truth was is that I didn't have an IV in my arm. I wasn't getting continuous fluids, and I had just allowed myself to get dehydrated shortly after being brought back to stabilization. And that's at the very least, that's how I, contextualize this. Sure, he might be stable in this room, but you put him back out on the island, he's in the heat. He is dehydrated again. He's not getting continuous fluids. He's not in immediate care of a doctor if something does happen. And so I think that the right decision was absolutely made, not to mention the context that of just where he was in life. He has a kid that is on the way. Like it's not worth all that. It's not worth all
And I
that.
think a lot of people forget too, like on Survivor, we are living out there in the wild. Nothing's for free. We're making our own shelter. We have no food. We have no heat. We're not sleeping. So he is biologically depleted of everything. So yeah, having this in his system is not good. Absolutely right, Phil.
And because this was another thing I saw, like people were like, oh, well, why was he removed? Like, that's a stupid, like when people, like I saw, again, people in comments being like, it's a stupid call that he got pulled from the game. Ignorance. Because he had like a mental and psychological like event occur. Like, yes, it was a dry bite. That's great. We're so glad that there was no venom that happened. But what happens if hypothetically, he goes back in the game. He's sleeping in the shelter and he feels something like go past his leg, freaking out, full on panic attack, doesn't know what's going on, blacks out, could like hurt himself there. That's why I think they did it. And I think people need to kind of use their brain, and that's the nicest way I'm going to say it, and kind of think of it that way, because yes, he didn't sustain any like physical damage, but how do you say it? Sociological? I think that's the word. Or like just yeah, that's the one. The psychological and like mental stress that can put on you, going back into that environment where you're already paranoid, you're already stressed. If you're malnourished, that's not going to help. So it's like great decision by the medic team. They knew what they were doing. So again, fans, stop thinking you know everything. You don't. Go on Survivor and get first boot, please.
Yeah, try it first.
Yeah. Just bringing in some comments here. Jay thinks some great points were made. Frank saying, despite the dry bite, it was not an overreaction because the unknown and the reaction of the impact of how it was handled would have been the same had it been venomous. Same fear reaction. Absolutely. And Roy Jolly, regardless of the dry bite, this from a mental standpoint was a near-death experience. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm sure everything was going through his mind because, like I said, we get a crash course on what to stay away from. Big, bold, this snake. So I'm sure going through his mind is like, oh my God, get me out. I'm like, I mean, I understand he'd be upset, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, please get me home. Like, I need to see my wife,
And just for specific for you here, Josh, Jay wants to know, did you see any sea crates on 44?
I did not. No, we saw a lot of crabs, a lot of fish. I did not see a sea crate. I'm glad I did not. I know Carolyn saw a snake. I don't know if it was a sea crate, but she saw a snake in the trees.
Well, there we go. They're out there. So, alas, Jake does get pulled from the game. Now, before we get into the challenge, we're going to hear a little bit from our I forget what we call this guy. It's like a Torch Tiki, Mr. Tiki guy. Willard. There we go. Buff Tiki man. Here we are.
Hey, you. Yeah, I'm talking to you. No, not them. I'm talking straight to you. Are you interested in even more Survivor content? Make sure to check out Survivor Now's Patreon page. We've got some incredible stuff going on over there, like an exclusive interview with the Dragon Slayer, Coach. Can you believe it? As well as many seasons that we revisit, so much bonus content, and there's 2 tiers to choose from. Either be a faithful member for $3 a month, or be a legend for $5 a month. There's also a 1-week free trial for the legend tier if you're interested. So what are you waiting for? Go to the link in the description below and join our Patreon today. I better see you there. All right, let's go back to the show.
I really dig that buff Tiki guy for whatever.
Tiki man.
You're at the challenge. I will say, I think it's actually a little surprising. This is actually, sort of the first time that all tribes find out the fate of Jake. At least that's how it's presented to us. Perhaps Blue probably could have known based on maybe him not coming back the previous night or something like that. But there are a lot of emotions on the starting mats. What do we think about this?
I mean, I just want to give kind of Jeff props. I know we never normally give Mr. Probes major props, but he can have some now. Just the way he explained it, because I love that he kind of gave the understanding of, look, we've been shooting in these waters for 10 years. None of the Fijian crew have an experience like this. So I think he did do a great job of kind of being look, we know that this has happened and we know that this can happen in this water, but we want to reassure you, we're here for your safety. So I give Jeff props for doing that. And I just give props to all the other tribes for giving Kelly their moment to kind of have that affect them. But I did love what Sophie was being no one give us a win, we want to earn it, please. So yeah, it was definitely a heartfelt moment. And yeah, I think it was handled very well. So well done, Jeffrey.
Yeah, this might be this might be the most cinematic. Jesus, Red Tribe. This might be the most sympathetic I have ever seen, opposing tribes be for another tribe, especially right before a challenge where obviously the goal is to win. What did you think about this, Josh?
Yeah, especially as this tribe, they only have 4 people, like they've lost the past couple. So they're already down. They have this traumatic event, and you're kind of looking over at them like, okay, they could win, but you kind of doubt it because we've won these past ones. So it's very, very heartfelt and sad, especially knowing that they got voted out or got kicked out when this was everyone's dream. But I do agree with you, Ollie, having probes go in there and like say everything's fine right before a challenge, because this would freak me out too, knowing that like, okay, so is there something going on with secrets this year? Am I going to be okay? And your mind is constantly going. So yeah, that was great. But very sad moment and somber.
Definitely. And yeah, just just to triple down on what you said, Ollie. I mean, big time. I almost didn't even realize, like, like what the heck? Like, someone gets, a medevac from a secret, and the next challenge is a water challenge. Like, obviously they could not have called this, but like that's just bad timing. So it's good that Probe sort of took a beat to give everyone some comfort, which is it's nice. Now this challenge, this was an exhilarating challenge, although despite Blue not being last to the puzzle, as per usual, they did have the hardest time with the puzzle, as per usual. At this point, I'm almost at a loss for words. I mean, for what it's worth, puzzles just might not be their thing, but it is so clear, maybe more than ever, that puzzles are the great equalizer of these long form challenges. I mean, this is
Oh, yeah.
3 in a row where the puzzle has decided the winner, or rather, what I should say, the puzzle has decided the loser. What did y'all think about this?
I mean,
Yeah.
oh, you go first, Josh.
Accurate. I mean, the puzzles are always the bottom line equalizer. You're right, for sure. And I'm glad that the producers are changing up the puzzles and not the same things over and over again. So that makes things interesting. But yeah, puzzles are not their forte. Poor Alex.
I mean, I will give them credit because that is probably the best they have done during the puzzles. So, like, well done for them for getting at least half of it. But it is kind of clear that none of them had like proper tried for the they hadn't properly trained, because I feel like some people go on Survivor and they're like, right, similar to Jason, they're like, right, I know I'm going to be the puzzle guy, so let me like do really well in the puzzles. Like Arnica, perfect example from 47. She was like she killed every single puzzle. So I feel like it was kind of just one of those, probably everyone on the tribe was like, right, I'm not going to be the strongest at the puzzles, so I'm gonna hope that we have someone else that's like that. And there sadly was not. But I do give them props for like how hard they tried. Like they were doing really well, and then I think they just got stumped, sadly.
Yeah, I just want to bring this up. Jay believes that production needs to make sure that each tribe has at least one puzzle person in casting, or the producers need to stop with these puzzle challenges. Ollie, I'm excited to hear what you're about to say, because
I think that Kelly did have a puzzle person, Nicole.
Mm-hmm.
Because everyone was like, oh, they were at the last thing and they did it wrong, and that's the puzzle. And I'm like, that wasn't puzzle, that was communication, and it wasn't Nicole's fault, it was Annie's dying on that hill. But I definitely think Nicole had a strong sense of puzzles, and I think they voted off the puzzle person at round 1, which is why they're failing now, and not just because they were in my draft.
I think Nicole was the puzzle person. I agree with that. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was going to say, I definitely would have to go back to episode 1 to really see, but what I definitely think has sort of made a big difference here is the last minute alternates getting into the season. Jason and MC being the most physical person, honestly, forget on the Hina tribe. In the entire season, I'm convinced at this point. I mean, MC is an absolute beast. And Jason, I mean, you hear Probst calling him out every single time as being just like in this hero position on the puzzle and absolutely crushing. I think that those two being last minute swapped into the game might have changed the dynamic on yellow and boosted them to the top. I mean, they have gotten first on almost every single challenge, I believe, maybe every single challenge. And so kudos to them. Even when they had a handicap against them, they got first. Go ahead, Ollie.
Can I just say though, I think this is going to hurt Jason. The edit made a point of probes like praising Jason for this. Like, this is the thing what I think MC has done really well on. She's out of this challenge, so they can't see her killing it in the challenges this time. Jason still doing the puzzle, killing it with the puzzle, knowing what he's doing. I do think that when we come to this swap next round, I would not be surprised if we hear Jason's name because he's so strong at the puzzles. And if they do something that maybe doesn't revolve around a puzzle, he could get targeted being like, if we have puzzles later on, he's going to be a threat, and like they just want to get him out because they're going to think he's strategically smart. So as much as it was like Jason's like done so well for himself in this challenge, I don't know whether it's helped him in the game.
That's accurate. You're right, because people are all looking at him like, okay, you're the puzzle guy. So like you're the Carson from 44. Carson was the puzzle guy, and we knew Carson knew puzzles. So if he keeps showing that he's the puzzle person, you're going to be targeted. So yeah, MC is paying in the background, which is great. And for both of their standpoints, Jason and MC being alternates, not knowing you're going to be out there because you're out there for a week before, just kind of be apart. And the alternates are there with us doing everything. So they're seeing it, they're watching, and then to be chosen last minute, they have this extra excitement, extra build, extra something to prove. So I'm kind of glad they're kind of talking, but back to your point, yeah, Jason, I think, is in trouble with this.
Yeah, just, to pop on here, I think this is really funny. Puzzles have nightmares of Jason when they sleep at night. That's how great it is. And considering we are ending up back on blue because they are going to a tribal, I did save your comment over here, Jay. Jay did mention, I am surprised that they went to tribal despite the medevac, but the upside is potential 2-tribe swap next week and potentially no double tribal council post-merge this season. So there is an upside. However, I'm a little surprised too. When I saw the medevac stuff, I guess it did happen before the challenge. I did have a thought where I was like, man, is that going to count for their tribal, which they've done in the past? But they also have had the medevac plus tribal. I feel like it usually depends on when the medevac happens. This one happened to be before the challenge. And so here, the 3 lovable losers are getting ready for their 3rd tribal council. And we're going to get into the strategy that went into leading into tribal. But first, I think that this is a good sort of stopping point to talk about disaster tribes. It has become a staple of the new era. Here we have yet another disaster tribe. What do y'all think about disaster tribes? Are you guys over it? I not to throw in my opinion from the top, I think I'm over it. But I want to hear from you two in depth first.
I'm so over it. So I think, I was surprised that they were going to tribal with just 3, because in 44 it was me, Carolyn, and Jam Jam, and we didn't go because Matt had an injury. So I figured, we're not going. But the fact that we were, I knew it was like, okay, so what's going to happen next? They got to merge. They can't do a challenge with 2 people. Do you know what I mean? So I think this is their way kind of getting away from disaster tribes, I hope. Wink, wink. Come on, producers. But yeah, it's kind of played out. Boring. I'm bored.
Yeah, completely right. Because it was like, again, that happened in 44. You had Yanu that were constantly losing and they were meant to go to tribal. Randon, medevac, nothing. So I was just, I mean, it was sad. I did love the drama. I was eating up the drama, but I'm just bored of disaster tribes now. And I think it is kind of that thing of like, I just want to understand all of the dynamics, and that's why I like seeing, because it was like 47 was the perfect example. You had so many balanced tribes that you got to understand each tribe's dynamic, and I think that also helped things be very fluid in 47, because I think where it's been like 1 disaster tribe and then 2 tribes, like we heard it earlier, it was going to be like Uli versus Hina, and it's like it does not have to be. So that's why I'm excited to see. Like, I just want to see something different.
Yeah,
You're right about that. You don't get to see everyone else's dynamic because they focus on the tribe that's losing all the time. So that's accurate.
yeah,
Mhm.
I'm completely over it. And frankly, I think that with the 3 tribe format, it is so much more. There is such a higher chance of you just absolutely not getting to see 1 or 2 of the other tribes, and it just sucks. I think that they really need to reconsider going back to 2 tribe formats. Maybe even you know, and at least just switch it up. I'm okay seeing a 3 tribe format here and there. My favorite season is Cagayan, for Christ's sake. Luzon was, you know, that a very early disaster tribe. I just think that when you have 2 tribes, even if one is absolutely biffing it, you only have 2 tribes to look at. So you're able to sort of jump back to the other tribe and see that dynamic. Sure,
Mm.
you might not get to see every single person all the time, but I do think that it balances out. It's easier to balance out the edit
Yes.
and not have one tribe far and away get just so much more focus than the other 2. Because then,
Mhm.
even in a world where on a 2 tribe season, you're only seeing one tribe primarily, that means that there is one other tribe that you're not seeing, 50% of the contestants, versus it being 2/3 of the season that you're not seeing 66% of the contestants. It's just some some food for thought. But I'm sure
Yeah.
they've heard this enough. So
No.
what do you think about it?
No, absolutely, because then you've got like people that get no confessionals, but then you give Jeff Probst a confessional in an episode, and it's like, really? We're going to give Jeffrey a confessional, and like Christina and Sophie on Hina aren't going to get anything? Really?
Yeah, and it's tough. I mean,
Mhm.
episode 1, I was like, "Oh my god, Christina is like a lightning bolt. She's gonna be so entertaining." We haven't heard from her since episode 1. And Sophie, we didn't hear from until we haven't heard from, period, really. I mean, outside of the scene
Wait, is
Maybe
Sophie
2.
going to get a Genevieve moment? We like Genevieve. We should know be Genevieve. Let's be fair, but like Genevieve didn't get like everyone was like, "Where's Genevieve?" And then episode 4, yes, it did mean that Keyshawn went, which I was really still sad about. But like maybe, who knows? Sorry, just might
I
pop
I
into me.
do wanna just make I'm looking it up because I don't wanna be completely wrong here. I feel like Genevieve had a pop moment at the very least in episode 3. Like, I feel like you're right. Was it episode 4? I mean, I think that's
Yeah,
when
because
she
that was Keyshawn's blind side, where it was the montage of Keyshawn talking in her head.
Yeah. Oh, I remember that one, of
Yeah.
course.
Mhm.
Genevieve. But anywho, I'm over the disaster tribe. Fully over it.
Yeah.
However, this is what we get: lovable losers. And there ends up being an interesting dynamic here where Jeremiah and Sophie are plotting to possibly see if they can a form of Eric Reichenbach, our friend Alex, in the form of getting him to not play his idol and voting him off. Did you think that this was realistic? Did you think this was a little far fetched? What was your take on all this?
Yeah. I think they were trying. I mean, it would be silly if Alex didn't play his idol because I mean, there's only 3 people. There's nowhere to hide. I mean, I've lived it. It's just like, it's a good strategy, but how are you going to convince him? Do you know what I mean? You can do your best you can, but I mean, in Alex's point, his number 1 went home, and I don't think he had a really good relationship with either of them, really, seriously. So I think he's going to use it no matter what. But with these 2, I mean, that's the only thing you can do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I wish it was a possibility because I like these 2 more than
Mhm.
Alex, so sorry. So yeah, like
Goop.
I was hoping. I was wishful thinking, shall we say.
Yeah, I'll come back and defend you, Alex. I think that Alex is one of the most entertaining people on this tribe, and Jeremiah was bringing nothing for me. So honestly, the ending of this episode was definitely more favorable for me. But at the end of the day, I actually think that Sophie is like the lead strategist of this tribe. I do want to throw that out there because even in this moment here, I actually had the thought, to your point, Josh, where it was like, this is so far fetched. Like, there's only 3 people here. Like, was this actually really even a thing that they were thinking of? I believe that this was more a defense for Sophie. I think that this was Sophie's way of being like, okay, look, we, if I get Jeremiah to vote for Alex and Alex vote for Jeremiah, idol or not, I'm in the safe spot. And I don't think that, I think that she was honestly most effective with both of them than either of them were with the other. And I just want to give Sophie a bunch of props. I don't think I saw it coming, to be completely honest. I did see Sophie being, the spicy, woman from Miami. I saw that, and I was very excited to see her from jump. However, I don't think that I really saw her leading this strategy coming, and I think that she's the most strategic on her tribe by quite a bit. But before we get to, Josh, you have something to say?
Well, I think I agree with that. When you guys talk about Genevieve, her Genevieve moment, I think it is coming because they were panning to her a lot during the challenge. Like she was thinking or she was over it. I think something's coming. And I think Sophie is definitely strategic and she's been strategizing more than they're showing us. So I do kind of like the Alex Sophie duo right now. I think they would go far because they bring two different sides of the spectrum with strategizing.
Definitely. And again, I'll be honest, I really am thankful. I feel like I am in, perfect favor here with what's been happening. Those are my two favorites on this tribe from jump. I just want to say. So
they're the only two that are left.
That's right.
True.
So
You're
that's
right.
my point, is that I feel like I'm getting the most favorable edit for my wishes here. I do want to throw this in here. By the way, does Sophie remind anyone of D if D were on a pre-merge disaster tribe? The answer is 100% yes for me. I am getting D vibes here, and that's sort of my whole thing. Is that at jump, I remember hearing her say that she felt like she could be the D of the season. She felt very akin to D, and I was like, okay, let's see you put up some strategy. Just because you're from Miami, it's not all it takes. At this point, I'm convinced. I'm fully team. Sophie is like a front runner for me for possibly running this game. What do y'all think?
I'm excited to see her on this tribe, who she's going to be with and how she maneuvers out of that.
Same.
Now we jump from blue to red. Again, very kumbaya tribe. So kumbaya that they decide to search for the idol all together. Ollie, I'm going to go to you first because I just see the frustration on your face here. Did you think this was just do you hate when this happens?
Yeah. Why? What? It's going to help all of us. It's one idol. There's 6 of you. How's that helping all 6 of you? Unless you lot can manipulate everyone else. Sorry, and I am a fan of Yuli. Why all go hunt together? No, I would sit there and just not look. If that was the case, it would be I'm not finding this beware advantage. If I find it, I'm pointing at it and going, someone else take it. Because I'm not having this in my possession. Because I'm not having the target.
Yep. The only reason I can think of is because you can see where everyone's at and who's where. And then you can just be in the background looking yourself or something. But yeah, it's kind of null and void.
But also, Jay just made an excellent point. Rizzo can't shut his mouth. So that is, no.
All right, Z-G-O-D, the man, the myth, the legend, Riz God.
He's so entertaining.
Rizzo.
Finds the idol. This is what I love about Survivor, though, right? Everyone has their different takes on people. I have been a fan of Rizzo. Do I think that this is the smartest decision by him? Far from it. I am with you, Ali. I want to make that very clear. I am with you, Ali. Blew my mind that he decided to tell everyone on his tribe about the fact that he found this. Almost makes no sense. And then he's in confessional, doing his slogan or whatever. But it's that I'm sure Ali loves and will be excited to hear for the rest of the season. But do you think that this is naivety and youth that we're seeing? Does he not have enough years?
No, I know of this person. I've made this very clear. He is an augur. I have seen him in orgs. He has won many an org. He is an amazing strategist and social player. So no, he does not get this pass. It is not naivety. He has got a survivor brain. No, not having that. No. He knows what he's meant to do.
Well, shoot. I guess there's no room for discussion, Josh.
I don't know if I would tell everybody that I had an idol. that's bold. But I mean, he's instilling trust? Question mark.
We will have to see what happens here. Jay believes he just got too excited. Once again,
Okay, yeah, possibly.
the youth, he's just so bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Anywho, the opposite of that, back to blue, we are seeing this is funny. Ollie supporting a male player.
No. Hold on. I know of Rizzo. That does not mean I'm supporting.
But anyways, back on blue, we are seeing Sophie and Jeremiah enact their plan to pitch to Alex, try to get Alex on their side. Sophie with, again, just what I think was a very powerful pitch. And I don't know if it's just like, I would have fallen for this. Just her being like, look, I'm a loyal girl. I have had the same nail tech since
not this conversation.
Okay, I'm just saying in general, my friend. All right, okay, there's no more photos of the two of them. All right, bud. But anyways, that is her pitch. Okay, Ollie, you grabbed all the screenshots anyway, so you should have grabbed the one where she's talking about that. But this is one of the conversations that was had. It was her saying, "Look, I've had the same nail tech forever. You can trust me. We're gonna go loyal to the soil, me and you." I mean, what did you think about her arguments here? Were they cogent for the two of you as well? Do you feel like they were strong?
They're a mid for me. Mid.
Interesting.
You expect somebody to say that, right? Like, okay.
In this conversation, before we get to that conversation, yeah, this was an okay pitch. It made sense.
But then,
well, the next slide, we see Jeremiah talking with Alex. The one thing I really remember about his pitch was him talking about him being a Libra, bringing up astrology again. And look, once again, there's the dynamics of mankind, right? Something like that. Everyone's different. That would have fallen so flat for me. And I am someone, I know my big three. I know my sun, my moon, my rising. I find it interesting enough. But for that to be an actual argument for me keeping you in the game, I think I would have been like, dude, what is that really your strongest angle here? It would not have worked for me. What did you think about this one, Josh?
I wanted him to do yes and like that's something to support it, but like maybe a little bit more. Like give me examples like what we can do like beyond this, because that's hard, having two big strong guys like keep going. And I just wish Jeremiah would like had some strategy, some more with trying to convince him. You know what I mean? It was kind of lackluster from what they showed from the edit.
Yeah. I think leaning into the Libra of it all, like from a strategy point of view, I don't think Jeremiah capitalizes much. I will say I do think he read him like a book, though, in the sense of like when he was like, "This is what they do," and then obviously the edit showed Alex just not being very indecisive, and I was like, Jeremiah did read him there quite well. But in terms of the strategy of it, I was like, no, you could have had like more in that sense.
Yeah.
Well, what I found very funny is Sophie spying on this conversation. I mean, is this like I
don't know how.
Go ahead, Josh, please. You've been on the island.
I don't know how. I mean, you have cameras all over you, so they're watching. But I'm always watching. Like if it's just me and there's only 3 people on the island, so you're always kind of looking around. So I don't know. This is a little far-fetched for me, really. Like you didn't see them behind you, you didn't see her behind you, but good for her because I'd be listening in too. Like, what do you really think?
Tony Blotchers 5.0. I'm with you, Jay. I'm with you.
Look, I wanted to roll or something,
For me, I just think that, like, again, I am like slowly just like absolutely falling in love with Sophie's character and who she is out there on the island. Because I like Tony Blotchers as a perfect example. I like players that play hard. And we have seen at every angle of this game, Sophie playing hard. Josh, I'm actually with you. Like, do I think this is truthfully the most effective? We do get this silly shot of the back of their head. I mean, is this real? Was she really able to glean that much from this little hiding spot? The truth is, the way that I look at it, who knows and who cares? This shows how hard she's willing to play. You know what I mean? That's
Mhm.
what that's what it symbolizes for me. And for me, it makes me just like such a fan of Sophie because I just really respect that. If I'm being completely honest, in this third episode, Sophie may have jumped to my favorite contestant on this season, genuinely.
Okay.
And I was not thinking that. I really was. My favorite player was Alex. But I know Ollie hates Alex for some reason, but
I thought
I
it was Jason.
okay, I really like Jason too, but we haven't seen much of Jason, so how can I like him from this even of the game? But Jason was my favorite preseason. But yes, I really liked Alex throughout the season. And I think Sophie has just jumped ahead of him after this episode. I really liked what I've seen from her. And I will say, apologies to you, Ollie. I don't know how you did it. If I don't know how I missed this, you did have it in here. This is the conversation where she says, "I am a loyal bitch. I promise you." Same nail tech, and I think this is very funny. Frank says, "You're only loyal to your nail technician until you get a nail fungal infections." On to the next. Fair enough, Frank. Can't argue with that.
Period.
But the fact that she's never had one from that nail tech, you know that nail tech's good.
There we go. There we
There we
go.
go. All the way to the
Also,
end.
Jahardi, welcome to the chat. Come on, our OG spy behind the bushes is Sandra. That is
Yes.
true. So some revisionist history, some Sandra
Wow.
erasure, as people like to think that Tony's
Yeah.
supposed to do. It was actually Sandra. Thank you for calling that out there. Anywho, any last words before you go to tribal?
No.
Josh?
Mm-mm.
All
Nope.
right.
Nope.
We make our way here. The image, the video is tight as ever because it is just these three here at Tribal. Oof. I feel like this Tribal was very it was interesting. I got here and somehow I actually did not know what was going to happen. I'm going to be honest. I do think that the editing moving to here left me with some questions on if Alex was even going to play his idol. In the conversation at Tribal, sort of reflected that same thing. Any highlights from Tribal for you two?
They did a good job with not having Alex kind of play his hands. I think he knew what he was going to do before he got there. I do, but I think he did a great job, kind of making it secret.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ollie.
I'll just give Sophie props in the sense of because I think that she did what she needed to do. Like she didn't get any votes, and I would kind of slightly give Sophie the credit in the sense of like getting Alex to flush his idol because I think she did kind of spook him in the sense of like we're just gonna still sit there and be like, well, you couldn't, and we could do something. So, and I think like that was very smart of her to kind of like if Alex had any doubts to be like, no, get rid of those. Because I think Sophie knew what she was going to do and she needed Alex to do it.
Yeah, I'm actually with you there. I felt like Sophie played a very interesting sort of role here. Once again, more Sophie praise coming from Phil. Here we go. I just think that like I love how Sophie started off this Tribal by being like, well, Jeff, Alex is going to play his idol, so it is what it is. It's either me or it's Jeremiah. And then, to your point, Ollie, she was the one to sort of throw out, but there is a world where he doesn't. And so Alex isn't completely off the hook because there could be a bluff. And honestly, shouts to Jeff. A lot of times it's all, fantasy and analogies and, no one's actually talking about anything. It's just a load of crap. Here, it felt like Jeff was like really getting into their heads and really sort of throwing out the fact that like these are the three different scenarios that can happen. Let's talk about them. Again, I mean, look, by the way, I just want to say I'm sure Jeremiah is a phenomenal person. I have not enjoyed him on this season. And I think that he was so sloppy at this Tribal. He called Alex Jake twice at Tribal. And I'm sorry. It's just who I am. I think that everything that I've seen from him would literally piss me off so much, and it would be like, dude, you're going home. You're using astrology as a bargaining chip. I don't respect that. You're calling me Jake twice at Tribal, like, and I'm supposed to stick with you for the rest of the game? I'm supposed to believe that we're going to be together, ride or dies, for the rest of the game here, and you can't even get my name right?
And that was dead giveaway. It was like, okay, you said it twice. Like,
Yeah,
we're
get
going.
out of here. I'm like, I don't, I'm out on this.
Yeah.
Ollie,
But,
please.
but Paul, sometimes it happens to the best of us.
Oh,
Like,
so
you
funny.
know, like,
So funny. That was a good one. But
guys,
I just and I am curious to say Jay believes that it was not just Jeremiah, said a bit sloppy on the part of Jeremiah and Sophie. I didn't see that much slop from Sophie. I was once again, I could also be, her greatest defender over here after this episode. I felt like Sophie played this excellently. But did you guys notice any sloppy play from Sophie at this tribal? Did I miss something?
I think she was just laying it out on the line, like this is what it is. Like I said, you have 3 people, there's nowhere to hide, so you might as well just throw it out there. I think she was doing, what she could do.
Yeah, and Frank is sort of with me and Josh here. Love Alex, not so subtle, correcting Jeremiah for calling the wrong name. Sir, you are going if you don't know my name. Like literally,
That's the worst time. Like,
I would be so upset by that. Genuinely, I'd be like, dude, you want me to side with you, and you can't get my name right twice. Get out of here. But anywho, alas, we see Alex play his idol. And were either of you surprised by that, or by that point it was like, okay, of course he would. Yep.
Yeah, you have to. It's a scary moment. There's only 3. Nowhere to hide. You got to do what you got to do, because that is, I mean, that's a real thing. They could have teamed up and
Alas, Jeremiah is the one to go home, and it only takes 2 votes. And what's interesting is Sophie did not vote for Alex. Sophie voted for Jeremiah. I think something a very, very good thing to sort of call out. I think that she is in such a good position. It is such a smart move for her to have voted for Jeremiah here, because she is left in the game with Alex. And I think that she knew, if I'm going to be stuck with him, I better look like I'm loyal to him. And whether she is or is not, she played that so well. I mean, genuinely, Sophie, I want to give you a round of applause. Personally, I think that you played this episode damn near perfectly. Jeremiah, I mean, we always like to give final words to these folks. Jeremiah, I thought that you were a super fun person. I thought that you were a little mean to Annie. That was strike 1. Didn't love the bargaining chips, but look, you played your game, and you tried your best. Any parting words for Jeremiah? Ollie, don't laugh at me. I tried to be kind. Any parting words?
That was really mean of you.
Oh,
now you know how
I'll be nice when we come to Jake. We'll be giving last words for Jake too. But
yeah, no, like I really liked Jeremiah. I mean, I feel like he had some very funny moments. I'm just more so sad that the 15th place curse is still occurring, and I would like to hate on Sean from 45 for causing that. Because if no one has noticed, since season 45, 15th place has always been a gay man, and I'm really sad about it. It was so Sean quit, and then Barnu left. Then it was Kishan, then it was Thomas, and now it's Jeremiah. I'm telling you now, if you are a man of the LGBTQIA plus community and you go on Survivor and you are up for elimination on 15th place, get ready for your torch to be snuffed.
That is very interesting. I actually, I have not noticed that. I do want to put an asterisk next to Sean, but Ollie also remembers. I cannot stand quitters in this game.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Sean quit and then caused the curse.
So there we go. Right, that's right. Quitters, you're ruining the game. I will say, shout out to everyone else that did not quit, and it is just unfortunate that it happened in the same spot.
Prediction for 50: if Mike White gets 15th place, you know the curse is continuing. Just saying.
Break that curse, Mike White, please.
Break it. And especially if these people want to go on the White Lotus. Like, don't vote Mike White off in 15th place. Don't you want to be a star? Any parting words for Jeremiah, Josh?
Love you, Jeremiah. Like, I like the astrology thing was cool. It was really interesting. I wish I would have seen you a little bit farther, more strategy, but maybe we'll see you next time.
Yeah. The evil laugh was pretty cool.
I love Steve. Oh.
Yeah, I didn't like that it was used against Annie, but I'm like Alex. I'm like, oh my god, an older, mature woman. You know, let's protect her. Now, any final words for Jake? I want to make sure that we don't skip out on Mr. Jake here. Ollie.
Look, I may have not been Jake's biggest fan game-wise of this season, but like I'm glad that he's okay. Like I'm glad that he got to see the birth of his child and like he's thriving now. Will say amazing on social media. The irony is not lost on me that the shoe bandit got medevac from being bitten on the foot. It wasn't the left foot though. So that's how you know it wasn't true irony. Because if it was the left foot, I would have been cackling in that sense. But I think, yeah, like all props to Jake for that, and I'm sure we will see him again.
Ollie, you stole my joke. I wish I went first. Josh, what do you think?
Yes, the irony with the shoe bandit and getting bit on the foot, comical. But I kind of wanted to see more of him for sure, because I wanted to see the Alex Jake kind of thing play out.
Yeah, shoe bandit aside, Jake was very clearly the sort of leader, heart and soul type of this tribe. And I think what's really interesting about this is that moving forward, I've heard it said where it's like he was in a really interesting position to be coming from, if he were to have moved on past, through the merge, he would be on the most depleted OG tribe, which we've seen in the new era has actually been a very good thing for most people. And he happens to be individually very strong and, the leadership type. And so I would have loved to see how he would have pushed forward in this game. But alas, these things happen. And I'm just happy that he got home to his child. Like that's pretty sweet that he did get to see his child be born and live his dream of playing Survivor until he was medevaced. And maybe they'll grant him another shot because of the less than organic exit. Anywho, you all know what time it is. One of our favorite segments of every Got Something For You episode.
The tribe is posted. For those of you that don't know, I go on a stalk of social media after every episode because I love seeing what the castaways have posted because I'm a nosy bitch. So, I want to start off with something that actually didn't happen this episode. It was during kind of whilst the week was going on because it just kept coming up. And that was Hina throwing shade to all the fans because everyone said they were going to be the disaster tribe. I even believe someone in our draft, I won't name them, Josh Pickle, said that they were going to be the disaster tribe. And they are literally there going, and what? And I just found it so funny. Like, these are just 3 of the posts. Like, I think every single one of them had posted, but it was just so grand to see. So I'm happy that they're kind of like calling the fans out, being like, yeah, you thought we were going to be the disaster tribe? And then this one, it's just from some viewings, some viewing parties. You've got the Riz God with the Riz God cocktail, which looking at it, I need to properly see it again to see what the ingredients were. I don't know if that was for me, but I did love the Shoe Bandit had one. And also my one would be the Island Princess. And then also from other watch parties, I believe this may have been Bryson when I could be wrong about it, but I just wanted to do it because there was a Benry sighting, and we have not seen Benry for ages. So I just liked seeing old contestants. It was like when Amy went to Steven's viewing party. I was like, oh, love. Next up, we've got two posts, one from Sophie, and it's life is not a matter of holding good cards, but of playing a poor hand well. And I think that's exactly what she did. And then this funny tweet from Savannah going, I should honestly vote out my entire tribe for allowing me to walk around wearing my buff like this, which I think is very, very true. If I was on national TV and I saw that I looked like that, I'd be like, oh no, I have screwed up big time.
No mirrors.
That's true. That's true. Next up, we've got just some funny things I saw online. It was Sophie saying, really pulling my weight during episode 3. She is referring to herself as Kris Jenner with the meme, "You're doing great, sweetie." And then the middle one is Savannah, who actually gives us a little inside tea of the fact that the girls did have something going on in Yulee. So that's why she was a bit more surprised about having Sage throw out her name, because the girls did have something going on. And then finally, it's Jason poking fun at the fact that, he's great at puzzles. Him? Puzzle? Yes, please. Moving on, we got 2 quotes from Sophie. I'm going to say now, Sophie is really good on social media. If you do not follow Sophie on Instagram and X, you need to. Love it. Because she goes, "Want to know the worst part about being on the Disaster Tribe? I was in my period too." But she could do that and play a great strategic game. We love. And then the other tweet is all about how she wanted to kind of play the tribal. So you can pause this now and read it, because I'm not reading it all out. And then next up, this was my favorite thing. We didn't talk about it, but it was Stephen quoting about the Camp Rock choreo. I died when Camp Rock came on as a reference for Survivor. I was like, love, this is my childhood. So seeing Camp Rock get mentioned, I was like, love my life. And I will just say, go see this tweet, because it is quite funny. If you are a person like me that knows Camp Rock and knows that life, like, you know the joy it brought. Yes, Phil.
I feel as though I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Just wanted to mention that. Anyways, proceed.
Is this real? But is this me? Thank you. Moving on to, I really got so many Camp Rock songs in my head. This is from Jake. He posts, like I said, Jake is great on social media. He put a post right out after the episode detailing about what happened and how he's feeling and sending all the love. And then also the middle post is him like explaining how it was really hard and how he loved that he had the Survivor community around him, because I believe he was at the Brighton When event. So you had the dad himself, Joe, looking after him, so it's fine. The honor and integrity were all there. And then also him just mentioning that's the snake that bit him. And he actually gives like praise to the snake to be like, I got to see my child because of you, so well done. Yes, Phil.
How about the Nasir cameo? I mean, that's Nasir wrapping his arm around
Yes.
old Jake there, and not to mention also Kevin. But at first I was like, who is like strangling Jake? And I zoomed in and I was like, wait, that's literally Nasir. What the heck?
Yeah.
I think it's so fun.
There was at the Brighton When event, because this was San Francisco, there were a lot of good people that were there. I will just shout that out. Go to Brighton When, great time, loads of cool people to meet, just saying.
Okay.
And then this is continuing on. Jake gives a shout out to Sophie. He also posted this going unfinished business. And I love, it was clearly AI, but I love the fact that you've got the snake on the shoulder. Just a little nod to it there. Which I think is very true. He's already getting the campaign to be like, guys, if they do an unfinished business season, your boy's there. And then we're starting with the Jeremiah, because on the far right, it is on his Insta story, he has reposted the On Fire podcast with Jeff Probst. And it's just Jeff giving him a lot of love and just saying how he loved his infectious laugh, which I think we all did. If there's one thing about Jeremiah, that laugh was slay. And then he finally put a post on Instagram, so I suggest go reading it. He thanks everyone. Once again, you can pause and read it, because I'm not reading it all out, because that would take me like 5 minutes and I can't be bothered. But yes, that is Jeremiah giving his thanks to everyone. But now we're going to move on to the polls. So for those that don't know, after the episode is aired, I post on X at Survivor Now Pod some polls for you all to answer. So if you're not following us on X, go follow us at Survivor Now Pod, so you can answer these polls and then see what the results are. Because our first one is, would you tell people if you found the beware advantage? This was not me making this question because I was feeling petty in the moment. But the options are nope, no one will know, only telling my number one ally, I'll tell all my tribe, or I'm not trying to look. So Phil, I'm going to go to you first. Which one would you pick?
Ooh. I believe that I'm definitely of the top two selections. What I do want to say, because we didn't say it anywhere else in this episode, beware advantages have become this advantage that it seems like you cannot do on your own. You cannot accomplish on your own. It's very involved. And so I just want to say that to inform my choice. I think that I would tell my number one ally, only my number one ally. But I do feel like you, in this day and age, you sort of do need to tell someone else and not handle it just on your own, because the advantages to get them, it seems very convoluted these days. But that's just my thought there. What do you think, Josh?
I agree with you. I would at first, if you could, get it yourself, read it, like process it, and then tell your number one based on what it is, or use it to your advantage and tell somebody who will be good at it. Do you know what I mean? And then make them your number one, something like that. You know what I mean? But I would definitely not tell the whole tribe, and I would definitely look for it, obviously. So yeah.
Yeah, same. Like I would only be telling my number one. However, 68% said nope, no one will know. Only 23% said only telling my number one ally. I do love the 5% that are being very real though, and being like, I'm not trying to look, like very real for that. Okay, the next poll is, if you had an idol, would you have played it in that tribal situation? Because I feel like we all kind of said like the editing they did a great job at making us wonder. So it's yes, not taking chances, no, I'll be fine, or I truly don't know. Josh, I'm going to go to you first.
I would say yes immediately, not take any chances. However, in this situation, I truly don't know. Could come up too, because in tribal, a lot of things change, and when you're out there, you don't really know the true last play. You know what I mean? What you said the first time could be like what's not happening next. So, but if I had it in that situation specifically, yeah, I can't take chances. There's only 3 of us.
Phil?
I think I'd have to say yes. Yeah, there's 3 people. You do not want to be the person that goes home with an idol when there were 3 people left in it. Like it's bad enough when you just don't play it and there's a bunch of people. When there's 3 people, it's like, dude, are you serious? Like you got to play it then,
Well, I can confirm the majority also said yes, not taking chance, with 71%. Okay, the last one. Which 2-person tribe is your fave? I will just like to disclaim, I did forget a 4th option, which I will say at the end. So you've got Sophie and Alex, you've got Denise and Malcolm, and you've got Stephanie and Bobby John. I will say I forgot about Ricard and Shan, and I do apologize for that. I probably would have voted for Ricard and Shan. I remember after I posted.
Yeah, I might vote for Ricard and Shan. And
I did like their dynamic, Ricard and Shan. Yeah.
So we're all voting.
Denise and Malcolm's second, I guess. The second, on this list, I would do Denise and Malcolm, I guess.
Yeah, on the list, I would do Denise and Malcolm as well.
Yeah, in our hearts, it's actually Ricard and Shan. So if you're watching this, please know that is what our true answer is. But for this thing, you are both in the majority, as 50% said Denise and Malcolm. I'm quite shocked that Sophie and Alex only got 17%, but that's purely on recency bias. Like normally recency bias, people are like, oh my God. But those were the polls. Remember, check out Survivor Now Pod on X on a Thursday or a Friday. We will post it and you can have your say and come back next week for the results. But that was the tribe is posted.
There we go. Thank you so much, Ali. Always love getting to see a little bit of what's going down on social media. Now, this is the point of the show where we say thanks to you, Josh. Thank you for coming on the show. This has been so fun. You were a wealth of information when talking about the snake, being able to bring in your specialty from your career, and you're just a fun person to have on the show, which is why we have you on every single season. Anything to promote? Anything going on in your world?
Nothing much going on here. Thank you guys always for having me on. I really love coming on and talking about Survivor. I'm still a huge fan of it. I know it's been 4 seasons since I've been on it, but oh my gosh, love opening up the behind the scenes footage of. With here, me in Atlanta, nothing going on really. We just had Pride, and I was just with Mickey from Big Brother the other night, so we might be doing something soon. So stay tuned.
There we go. And look, we've got some great guests coming up next week. Ali, I'll hand the floor to you, my friend.
Oh yeah. So next week is going to be Ladies' Week. We have got some fabulous women coming to join us next week. Starting off for the after show, we have got the lovely winner from Survivor 47, Rachel Lamond, will be joining the after show to talk all things episode 4 of the show and getting their genuine reactions. So if you want to figure out what Rachel's initial thoughts are, go check that out. That will be immediately following the episode on Wednesday. On Thursday at Survivor Social, the girls will be joined by their OG. Tegwith will be back joining Survivor Social for the episode. Sadly, no guest for Stockwatch. But for Saturday, Phil will be joined not only by Tori, because I won't be there next week, but Tori will be taking the reins from me. But joining both of them next week is the lovely Janet from Island of the Idols. She will be joining you and checking out everything episode 4 of Survivor 49. So those are your lovely guests for next week.
Thank you, Ali. See, I can't keep everything in my head. Ali's the best, truly. Anywho, that was episode 3 of Got Something For You, episode 3 of Survivor 49. And we will be back here next week on Saturday, not Sunday. There will be no conflicts. If there is, we'll let you know. But tune back in on Saturday. We'll be here, and we're excited to talk about the next week's episode with you. So take care, and until the next time, goodbye.